I just received a massive inside update on the future of Dylan Raiola, whether or not he's actually planning to transfer away from Nebraska, everything that's been going on behind the scenes over these past couple days, over these past couple hours with him, Matt Rhule, Dayton Raiola, his father, our offensive line coach Donovan, if he's going to be here in the future, the entire Raiola deep state. Is that marriage coming to an end? I'm going to reveal all the inside information I know, everything you need to know, and where we go from here. So really quick, this is a loaded inside update. Hit that like, my favorite, fired up. And also, we're getting so close to 15,000 subscribers, and for good reason. It is about to heat up in December and January with the transfer portal. We post daily content talking Nebraska, talking the portal, talking recruiting, talking the coaching carousel. This is the only channel on YouTube that posts that kind of stuff. So listen, if you want to stay informed with the Huskers this offseason, it's no brainer. It takes 2 seconds. Join the family. Help us at 15K. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. But without further ado, we have a lot to talk about. We just received a massive update on the future of Dylan Raiola, everything that's been going on behind the scenes over these past couple days, over these past couple hours, not only with him, but with his uncle, Donovan Raiola, our offensive line coach, whether or not he's going to be here in the future. So let's start off with what we already know. Let's set the groundwork. Let's start the framework so everybody is on the same page. We know these things for a fact. That the Raiola family was not happy after the UCLA ball game. That's when everything started with TJ Lateef going out there and playing well. We beat the Bruins on the road. That the fan base was starting to become in favor of TJ, was turning on Dylan. We know that Dominic Raiola called up Matt Rhule, was not happy that TJ fits the offense better, that Dylan has not been developed the way that he expected, that Dylan has not took a step forward. We know that Dayton Raiola later decommitted a couple weeks later. Everybody at the time, they speculated it was because of playing time, it was because of Dayton calling his shot, it was because of money. It wasn't because of any of that. It was later confirmed that Dayton Raiola did decommit because of the uncertainty around Dylan and the uncertainty around his uncle. We know that Dylan Raiola, after Dayton Raiola decommitted, Dylan removed Nebraska from his Instagram profile picture, that he's been completely silent on social media. He followed a bunch of Oregon accounts in a span of 20 minutes on that very day, all of which were Oregon players and Oregon members of the coaching staff. We know that for a fact. And then, of course, the big shocker was last Wednesday, it was leaked by a member of the Raiola camp that Dylan is expected to enter the portal. That was leaked. It was not some clickbait title. The timing's everything. And then when they say sources say that Dylan Raiola is expected to pursue the portal, again, that is a direct source from the Raiola camp. And that was later confirmed just a couple hours ago, that the Raiola camp put that out there to get interest flowing for Dylan, to get Texas Tech involved, to get Oregon involved, to get Miami involved, to get all these other schools involved. So they know that Dylan Raiola is available, and they got to start the bidding war. Okay, it's all strategic. So we know all those things for a fact. We also know that just a couple days ago, there were some posts about Dylan Raiola in the facility. This was posted on social media. Oh, Dylan Raiola is in the facility. This means he's staying. That's what this got, 1,000 likes on Twitter. They're like, oh, it's confirmed Dylan's coming back. That means absolutely nothing. Of course, Dylan's in the facility. He's still a football player here. Like, what do you think, he's going to quit the team automatically? Of course he was in the facility. So this picture changed nothing, unlike what people were saying. There was also posted yesterday that he was at the game, with his little scooter. He's talking to some of the players. Oh, this means he's coming back for confirmed. Like, again, of course he was at the game. He's still on the team. We also know that Dylan Raiola was not a part of the sideline during the game. He did not talk to TJ Lateef once. Okay, he didn't talk to TJ once. You think because Dylan was the starter for so long, he'd give TJ some advice. He didn't talk to TJ once. So, again, I still let's say this. Like, there have been these posts saying, oh, this is confirmed Dylan's staying. Of course Dylan's in the facility. That means nothing. It means nothing. So, that's what we know for a fact. But let's talk about the new information. What we have learned, what I have learned over these past couple hours, over these past couple days from confirmed sources. I talked with a couple players last night after we lost to Iowa. Some players who played in that ball game. Talking not only about Dylan, but some other things. We'll talk about those in later videos. But let's start off with the information that we learned. Number one, Dominic Raiola was not only frustrated with Dylan not being developed, he's not only frustrated with TJ, we knew that for a fact, but we just learned that Dominic Raiola called up Matt Rhule demanding for a pay raise. We know that Dylan Raiola is already the highest paid player on this team, the highest paid player in the history of Nebraska football, in the $3 million range. And Dominic Raiola not only called up for him to get more money, for Dylan to get more money, he also called up Matt Rhule for Dane to get more money. And Matt Rhule declined. And that is when this all began. That's when Dayton Raiola decommitted. So we know that Dominic Raiola wanted more money. That was just confirmed. Just learned that. We know that that's when Dominic Raiola started calling up these other schools. We know that Dominic Raiola is very, very connected. He started calling up Oregon. He's shopping both of those players as a package deal. So the whole narrative, like Dayton's trying to go somewhere and pave his own path, that's not happening. He's going to follow Dylan. I just talked with two members of the team last night. one of which is a true freshman. You can infer who that is based on my other videos. And I also talked with somebody who's a junior who played in that football game, who may or may not be a starter. Talked with 2 players last night. Both of which, we were talking about the future of the roster, talking about a multitude of topics, and both of which told me that they do not expect Dylan Raiola to be with the team anymore. The team itself, they don't have an inside scoop. They don't know much. I don't think anybody knows besides Dylan and that family. I think Matt Rhule has a little bit of a sense. But the players in the locker room do not expect Dylan Raiola to be there next year. And honestly, both of them told me they're okay with that. So again, you can infer who those 2 players are. We've had very similar over these past couple months. So that's what we know. The team is not expecting Dylan Raiola to return. We know that Dominic Raiola wanted a pay raise. But we also know this, that Dylan Raiola has been very absent from the team over these past 3 weeks. He's been absent from TJ. There was this great narrative that he was such a leader to TJ, that he was developing TJ. He was, on TJ's side. It's really easy to be friends with TJ Lateef when you're the starter and TJ's the backup. Really easy to do that. But when you face adversity and when TJ goes ahead of you in the depth chart and TJ starts playing a little bit well, that's different. And those are when the real leaders come out. And that's when Dylan Raiola stopped talking to TJ completely. And I know that for a fact. Dylan's barely talked to TJ over these past couple weeks. Dylan was not on the sideline talking to TJ during the Iowa game. So that's the Dylan stuff. But here's where it really gets interesting. It all ties back to Donovan Raiola. Now, people were asking me, they said, well, if Dylan's gone, does that mean that Matt Rhule's finally going to have the stones to fire Donovan? If anything, it's vice versa. Donovan Raiola and his uncertain future is what started all this even further when it started with UCLA. We learned that Donovan Raiola, his relationship with Matt Rhule has been souring for some time now, particularly in October, of course, when we were crapping the bed early in the season versus Michigan State versus Maryland, particularly versus USC as well. We know that Matt Rhule was completely fed up with the offensive line in practice. He was chewing at Donovan Raiola on multiple occasions. Matt Rhule himself has gotten more involved with the offensive line along with the multiple assistants. And we know that partially that's why we've been playing better. That's why the offensive line's improved, but it's not because of Donovan. It's because everybody's getting involved with that offensive line. It's because Dane's getting more involved. And still, the offensive line's not good enough, despite all of that. So once Dominic got word of this, the father of Dylan, that's when this all began. When the uncertainty around Donovan started. And there's right now, if you talk to a lot of these players, if you talk to a lot of these people who are close to the program, they do not expect Donovan Raiola to be here next year. Okay, that Dylan and Donovan will both leave. That Matt Rhule is going to make that tough decision and is going to move on from Donovan particularly. So that's my expectation. I do expect Donovan Raiola to be fired next week. Not the end of the bowl game, not the end of the year. Donovan Raiola will not be part of this coaching staff, maybe by Monday. It's going to be a busy week from everything we've heard. Again, the Raiola marriage is coming to a very sloppy end. So moral of the story, the Raiola marriage has soured, particularly with Donovan, and that's because of his results, that's because of the performance during the year. That Matt Rhule has been fed up with the offensive line. We know that Dominic Raiola has been very frustrated with Dylan Raiola's development, was not happy with TJ taking over. That Dylan, of course, has had his question marks, been very absent from the team. And I expect both these guys to be gone very soon. When Dylan leaves, I think he's going to get interest from some top programs, Miami, Oregon, Texas Tech, a lot of rumors around those 3 in particular. I think Dayton's going to follow him to whatever program he goes to. We'll see where Donovan goes. I don't even know if Donovan's going to get a gig. And we know this family's just not loyal. I mean, that's just the way what's happening right now shouldn't surprise you, though. If you follow the Raiola family over these past decades, this should not shock you. This should not shock you what's going on. This was kind of inevitable. It was kind of inevitable. Again, you learn a lot about people when adversity strikes. Whether or not they're going to suck it up, get better, improve, or they're going to run from it. And unfortunately, the Raiola family has a tendency of running from it. They do. So, talking about Dylan, again, I'll tell you right now, I do expect him to leave. I think this will be announced next week. Maybe Monday, maybe Tuesday, it's going to be announced that he declares his intent to enter the portal. And everybody's going to have one thing to say about Dylan, but I'll give you right now, I'll tell you right now my take on Dylan. I respect Dylan for one thing. I don't think Dylan was the best quarterback in the world. He threw multiple interceptions this year in bad ball games against bad teams. I think he contributed more losing than he did winning. I don't think he really led us to a 6-win season like people are claiming from last year. Dylan, we didn't win those games because of Dylan last year. We won because of the defense. This year we won because of Emmett. So I don't think Dylan's really contributed much to winning, really. He definitely didn't live up to his 5-star potential. You could argue that's because of him or because he wasn't developed the right way. You could argue Dylan Raiola's character is not as good as what the staff likes to portray. So you could argue all these things about Dylan. But I will say, I do respect one thing about Dylan. He took a chance on us. He didn't have to come here. Dylan could have went to any other program. He could have went to Ohio State, could have went to Georgia, could have went to Bama, could have went to USC, could have went to Oregon. And he took a chance on us. And I'm going to respect him for that because that was a tough decision to make. And a lot of kids don't make that decision. He did. So I respect Dylan for that. I respect him for that. And I'm not going to take shots at him personally. I really am not. Like, honestly, I don't even blame him. If he wants to go and if he wants to leave, you know what? That might be the best decision for him because he might go get developed somewhere else at a higher level with better talent, with better coaches. I don't blame him. We all saw what happened yesterday versus Iowa. Do we really think he's making a bad decision if he were to leave? I don't think so. So I'm going to say, you know what? Thanks for the 2 years. Thanks for taking a chance on us. You weren't the best quarterback in the world. I don't know how I'm going to remember you, but I'm wishing you the best of luck. And you better believe if he transferred to Oregon, transferred to Texas Tech, I'm going to be rooting for him. I'm going to be his #1 fan. But I don't blame for leaving, I'll tell you what. As for the offensive line, once again, I do expect Donovan Raiola to be fired. Good riddance, you know what I mean? The only thing I'm worried about is the O-line recruiting, because that's one thing I'll give Donovan credit for. Like, the O-line recruiting was actually pretty good. And a lot of these recruits like Donovan. So we'll see how they adjust who they hire at the offensive line spot. Hopefully they hire a good recruiter, because we know that once Terrence 9 left last year, we hired Terry Bray, and the D-line recruiting went to crap. I'm hoping that that's not with the O-line, because you need to recruit at a high level when it comes to high school recruiting, particularly in that unit. And then, I mean, what does this mean for the quarterback room? Assuming Dylan's gone, which I expect it to happen even after us losing to Iowa, it changes nothing. What does this mean for the quarterback room? I think TJ's our guy going forward, even though TJ arguably didn't really play that great over these past 2 weeks. I mean, TJ's going to be the guy, because who else are we going to get? Are we going to get a transfer quarterback? I don't really think that's going to be the case. We might get a transfer quarterback, but it's not going to be some great, $5 million type of guy. We might bring in somebody who's like a lower level player to compete with TJ, but like it or not, I think TJ's going to be a star next year. Marcus Davila might battle with them. We'll see. I just want to battle, regardless. I just want to battle. But TJ's going to be our guy. So I know a lot of people are anti-TJ. I think those people are ridiculous. People blaming TJ for Iowa. People blaming TJ for Penn State. I mean, you guys are just way too harsh on him for no reason. I mean, was he great? No, but the entire team crumbled around him. What's he supposed to do? But just know, TJ going to be our guy, whether you like it or not. We're going to have a quarterback battle. He's probably going to win it. But what I do know is that it's going to be a busy couple months. And we're probably going to bring somebody to compete with him. It's probably going to be a transfer. Maybe. We'll see. Might be another high school recruit. We'll see. But, man, it's crazy we're even having this conversation, It's crazy. But I will say this. Matt Rhule put himself in this situation. Here's the moral of the story. And here's why we're having an already tough conversation about Matt Rhule. Matt Rhule allowed his tenure to get messed up by even allowing this Raiola deep state to begin with. Yes, he took on a 5-star quarterback, but he allowed Donovan Raiola to stay on this coaching staff in order to get Dylan. Okay, Donovan was never good enough to stay here in year 1 of Matt Rhule, but he hired him. He kept him here because of Dylan. So that was the first move of incompetency. He gave Raiola this huge raise after last year, after playing okay as a true freshman, because he was scared he was going to leave. He answered to the demands of Dominic constantly. Dominic wanted Dayton there, even though Dayton was not a very good quarterback. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Dayton. Yes, sir, Dom. Yes, sir. We'll get Dayton. We'll punt to the entire class because we'll bring in your younger brother who's not very good, who's nothing even close to what Dylan is. So if there's anybody to blame this entire situation on, it's Matt. But I will give Matt credit. When Dom called up him a couple days ago and said, "Hey, we need a pay raise," Matt Rhule had the stones to say no. Say Dylan doesn't deserve it. We're going to pay Dylan what he deserves. And that's a lot of money, but we're not going to pay him extra for no reason because he might get more in other programs. So Matt Rhule made a good, tough decision there. You know what? And for that, I'll give him respect. So, all right, guys, let me know your thoughts down below about everything. Don't be too harsh on Dylan. I know there's a lot of people going at him. It is what it is. We'll see in due time. In due time, folks. All right, go Big Red, go Matt Rhule, and I'll see you in the next one.